Hello and welcome to Business 24 here on iBrandTV. I'm Michael Nath, your usual host on the show, and it's such a pleasure to have you around. On this episode, we shall be looking at a sector which in Nigeria contributes 48% of the national GDP. But first, we're going to take a business tip, go on break, and resume for details afterwards. Analyze and weigh the risk and reward of your venture side by side and choose carefully.
Most people don't understand the magic of a perfect skin, the allure of a well-pampered skin. We bounce from skincare products to skincare products, from spa to spa. Looking for that ideal solution. I found the solution. And it's Blemiville Skincare and Spa. My name is Neil, and I'm proud to be a part of the Blemiville family.
You're still watching Business 24 here on iBrandTV, and on this episode, we shall be discussing small and medium enterprises, that is SME, the backbone of major strong economies. International organizations such as the World Bank, the World Trade Organization, the United Nations, and the European Union, among others, agree that small and medium-sized enterprises or small and medium-sized businesses are business concerns whose number of personnel fall below certain limits. SMEs are usually non-subsidiary, independent firms with fewer than a given number of employees. The number varies across countries. In the European Union, for instance, the most frequent upper limit designating an SME is 250 employees. SMEs play an essential role in the economy of a country. They represent a source of entrepreneurship abilities, innovation, and creation of new jobs. Their capacity to apply, adapt, and disseminate new technology is unique. With a total number of about 17.4 million nationwide, Nigerian SMEs contribute 48% of national GDP. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, small and medium enterprises account for 96% of businesses and 84% of employment in Nigeria, while accounting for about 50% of industrial jobs and nearly 90% of the manufacturing sector in terms of number of enterprises. Now, on the Nigerian scene, what is the situation? What are the challenges and what is the way forward? Well, right here in the studio with me is a business consultant and SME industrialist in the person of Azuka Ijekeye to help analyze some of these issues and answer some of the very, very crucial questions. Azuka, you're welcome to Business 24 on iBrandTV.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, we've already been told that SMEs contribute about 48% of their GDP. But today, we all know there are no jobs anywhere, and businesses are folding up. Industries are nowhere to be found either. What do you have to say about the situation?
The truth is that every economy has to be built on something. So when we say there are no jobs in this economy, it's not totally complete, it's not totally true. However, it's not entirely 100% true, because there are jobs. And like you've read out in your introduction, SMEs play a major role in this. the informal sector in Nigeria has jobs, a lot of which are micro level. The organized sector, on the other hand, the jobs are the visible jobs, and they are the ones more captured by everyone. But the truth is, yes, we have an unemployment problem, we have a bulging youth population, and we're not doing enough to keep everybody engaged. And why is that? Simple reason being that we have simply refused to produce the things that we consume. And unless we make the things that we use and create production systems which would now use human resource for those production, we're not going to get out of this bulge. The service sector has done a lot in keeping employment figures in the service sector high. We tend to have a lot of service businesses doing well, but we've not done well in the production side. So we're having service jobs, we're having banking and all the laundry and all those jobs in the service sector. But in the production sector, where we're supposed to be making things for 200 million people, we're simply not doing enough. So that's why we're having the challenge of seemingly high unemployment.
Now, talking about consuming what we produce, do you mean that all the moves, all the steps taken so far by the federal government towards ensuring that we consume what we produce are not making any impact?
It's been described that madness is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. Throwing money at a problem without in-depth design of what that solution should be will only give you the same results. The government is trying its best, but there must be the input from people who know how these things are done. Truth be told, the Nigerian economy is not a design-led economy. What do I mean? All products have to be taught the creativity to think up a product that solves a problem. That in industry is done by industrial designers. Okay. So industrial designers think up the product that solves a societal problem. You want to eat and you don't want to use your hand, so you use a fork and knife or use a spoon or any other utensil. That is a solution. That solution, a product must solve that problem. It is the work of an industrial designer to develop that. Unfortunately, I am not aware there's any school in Nigeria that offers real industrial design. Sculpting is not industrial design. Ceramics is not industrial design. Those are not industrial design. Industrial design is what Apple does, is what Mercedes does, is what Dyson does. You think of a product that solves a problem. A chair solves a problem, the problem of sitting above ground level. But it's the industrial design that will bring out that product, because industrial design simply is design for industry. And what is design? Design is best described as a cultural act of meaning making. So when you're thinking of a solution like the government is trying to do, and you're not realizing that you need to design it, which means you have to make the meaning culturally. It must be linked to the culture of the people, and then it must make meaning. That's design, a cultural act of meaning making. Now, when you put industry into it, it is designed for industry. So when you pump 2 trillion naira into a sector and you have not thought of how that money is going to deliver a product that solves a problem, you must infuse designers in the middle, because they are the ones who will now design the solution for the capability of the industries available. So it's an ecosystem. But if you do it in isolation, which is what we tend to do, we do an anchor borrower scheme, and we're not asking where the implement or the machinery are going to come from. We're not asking what kind of storage systems are culturally agreeable to our environment. We're not asking what kind of processing do we need post-farming. We're not asking what kind of packaging do we get from the various raw materials available to us, not to go get packaging from Netherlands. That's the reason why it seems throw in all of that money and it's not having the impact.
Wow. Interesting. Now, still talking about SMEs, what's the gender balance ratio like in Nigeria?
Okay, I don't have that statistic. I'm sure the National Bureau of Statistics will have something like that. However, I believe that there's no barrier to any gender in Nigeria forming a business.
Yes.
Male and female. Nigerian youths are amazing. Amazing. Over the last 15, 20 years, the way the Nigerian youth has taken up the philosophy of entrepreneurship is just mind-boggling. Male, female. You have female mechanics, for example, who are in auto.
All over the place.
You have men who are doing hairstyling. Yeah. So, across board, I don't think there's a gender divide, and everybody has been contributing, male or female.
Yeah, sure, we know, but the aspect of this question, the aspect I'm interested in is to know whether we have, for instance, more males or more females. There are, in various businesses, you have more male-dominated ones and female-dominated ones. Right. That's exactly what I was trying to. Well, since you said you don't have the statistics here with you, let's forge ahead. Now, there is no business succeeds, without money. And it's not all the time that the money for funding or financing those businesses come from within. At times they come externally, like through assistance, say, by the government. It could be state government or the federal government. How is the government responding to SMEs, their growth and their development in Nigeria?
Unfortunately, I don't think the focus of intervention has been impacting the SMEs.
But they've been doing something.
In the news, you have all kinds of monies, all kinds of funds. It's in the news. But in reality, you ask SMEs, you ask me, I'm not aware that those numbers are impacting SMEs.
What could be responsible for this?
I need to be careful not to say things I don't have proof of. However, most businesses that, for example, I belong to the National Association of Small-Scale Industrialists. I belong to NASME, National Association of Small and Medium Enterprises. And as a body, we get all of these things. You go through the application process, and sometimes it takes forever and nothing comes up. Yet you hear in the news that they've given so number of people. And I believe that whether through associations or to individuals, if truly those funds were getting to productive SMEs, we would see the result in the marketplace.
And you think the fact that all these locally produced food stuff and other materials are rather on the higher side compared to the ones imported into the country is not deliberate?
Deliberate or not, if you don't control your production, you're going to pay the price that is given to you. Let me give you an example. I utilize a material called HDF. This desk you have in front of us is made from HDF, high density fiber. It's a board, it's a ply board, just like plywood. It is plywood. As of today, the price has gone from about 6,000, 7,000 naira a few months ago to between 14 and 15,000 today.
What are we talking about? Is it the material or something?
No, the board.
Okay.
The board is a 4 feet by 8 feet, 1.2 meter by 2.4 meter.
All right.
So you have more than double that price. This material comes from abroad, right? In fact, now there's Ghana plywood and all kinds of stuff. However, I am aware that in the 80s and probably early 90s, sapele used to be a major source of manufacture of plyboards. But we've thrown that away. Why? I don't know. Again, if it is government-centered, somehow in Nigeria, government seems not to have a grip on running businesses. And I think globally, government's job is not business. Business is for entrepreneurs. Business is for risk takers, you know? So we're going to pay the price whichever way. When you bring it in from China, the man who has brought it in and it spends God knows how many months within Apapa port, and then he has to pay, I hear it's about ₦1 million to transport from Apapa to Oregon.
And at the end of the day, all this will reflect.
You definitely, definitely. So that's the reality. Unless there is a deliberate plan of industrial advancement, a deliberate plan by people who know, we're not going to get any different results from what we're getting thus far.
Wow.
By people who know. I think that's one problem we have here. In lean manufacturing, there are 8 wastes. One of the wastes is not using people's knowledge. It's a waste. Nigeria's biggest problem is waste. The day we realize that waste is a major problem for us, we would have solved 50% of our problems.
Could you explain further when you mean some people out there may be thinking you're referring to the refuse we have here and there? Is that exactly what you meant? Definitely not.
Definitely not.
Okay.
Take the Federal Secretariat building in Ikoyi. It's been lying there. It's been lying there for how many years? Take the National Arts Theatre. As a young kid, I used to go there. In fact, my first job working with my dad was tending to the horticultural needs of the National Arts Theatre. So you can count Ajaokuta, the refineries, just keep counting.
They are now moribund.
They shouldn't be. It's not that it can't be utilized, but the people who know, and when I keep saying the people who know, it's industry. The solution to a lot of the problems we have in Nigeria is industry. Unemployment, it's industry. Make the things you consume. And for you to make the things you consume, you need to ask the people who know how to do it. But if you keep calling your best friend, your cousin, just because you feel it's about the paper called money. Because really, what is money? Is it that paper? If we drop 1,000 Naira bills on this table and leave it for a year, it will be on that table. So is that money? So I think, again, in our education, if we can teach ourselves really what is money, our focus will change. And I know the next question is probably going to be, Azuka, what is money? So let me answer.
Okay, go ahead.
In industry, money is time.
All right.
It's time. What do you do with it? If you waste the time, you make no money. If you utilize the time and maximize it, you make money.
That's utilizing it productively.
Productively. Thank you.
Should all this start from just anywhere, or are we going to look back to the classroom, like at the primary stage and stuff, to begin to teach Nigerians all this stuff you're talking about here?
Education is probably going to be the biggest sector in Nigeria within the next 10 years. Because education now, the needs of education, the needs of industry is different. So education has to change to meet the needs of industry. We're in the 4th industrial revolution. But Nigeria is probably still in the Stone Age. We're not even able to make tools, simple tools that we're supposed to use. But we're in the 4th industrial revolution. One of the things I like is the fact that Nigerians themselves are not remaining despondent, and they're just doing things and moving ahead. My classmate in Futu, I attended the Federal University of Technology, Owerri. I finished in sciences, industrial biochemistry.
Good to know.
Thank you. My classmate and fantastic mind, Professor Ndubisi Ekekwe, you can find him on LinkedIn, has just led a thought of what he calls the Nigerian model, and it's been published in the Harvard Business Review. The Nigerian model that Professor Ndubisi has worked on is actually an encapsulation of the Igbo apprenticeship system. And he has done a body of work that has put it almost on the same level as the Japanese Kaizen. Because if truly we remove all sentiments, because everything in Nigeria must be ethnic, must be religious, there must be sentiment. If you remove sentiment and you think as an industrial person, the Igbo apprenticeship system is one of the best models Africa has. Let me not say the world. What is it? Somebody starts a little business. When it's grown to a particular size, he gets, usually from his village, a cousin, a younger brother who comes and learns the trade with him. While living with him, he learns the trade, and over a period of, say, 5 to 7 years,
He becomes independent.
the person who is the boss settles him by opening a business for him.
Similar or just any business?
Depending on which aspect he wants to continue on. And it keeps going like that. And that's why you see everywhere in Nigeria, I don't think there is any local government or village that you go to and you will not find the Igbo man and this system. So if we remove Igbo, let's leave the sentiment aside. It is the Nigerian model. It is the most successful business model in Africa.
So what you're trying to say in effect is that this should be copied, by, say, other tribes.
It should be taught. It is Nigeria's gift to the world. And it is the gift that the rest of Nigeria by now should have taken on. If our education teaches what the Igbo apprenticeship system teaches, it is a communal development. It's a communal thing. Everybody supports every other person to grow. It's contributory. When you read it as put together by Professor Ekekwe, you will further understand. I'm not an academic person, but I understand it totally. So it's a model that's proven to be successful. We've seen it all over the country, and it should be the education of today.
Now, yes, I was going to ask if this should be embraced by Nigerians and encouraged to grow further. Don't you think it's going to devalue the value of education, which is basic, which every government is targeting as a must for every individual?
No, it doesn't mean that the whole education...
No, most of the people you're talking about now, for instance, are not in school.
Yeah, but
they've abandoned school and faced business squarely.
What is school? What is school? The fact that we're chasing a British model, is that what we should be chasing? So what is school? Again, I talk about design. The education we have today, from primary to secondary to university, what is it designed to achieve? What we see are graduates who only fit in as employees. And even to be employees, they're not doing this well enough. You have somebody finished from engineering and doesn't know how to use a T-square or a measuring tape. Cannot convert from metric to imperial. What is school?
We'll leave that question for another day.
Right.
Right now, very, very briefly, what are the problems, the challenges facing SMEs in Nigeria, and what is the way out? Very briefly, please.
Okay. The biggest resource that SMEs need is competent human resource. Competent human resource. Finance, yes, but I don't believe that that is the biggest problem. Competent human resource, so that anything that we are making, competent people make it and then it will be comparable to anything made anywhere in the world. And how do you get competent human resource? It is by getting those who know to train other people. So if somebody is a good carpenter, we have to have a system where that good carpenter trains another 100 people. So we have 101 carpenters. So there are that system of continually generating competent human resource is what we need to do.
Thank you very much, Azuka. And we hope when next we invite you, you will come here to give us another load of knowledge concerning SMEs and other aspects relating to it. Thank you so much for being here.
Pleasure is mine.
And for you out there, we have to thank you for being part of the program today. You've been watching Business 24 here on iBrandTV, and the pleasure of presentation has been mine. I'm Michael Nath.
iBrandTV. Business first.